Alrighty, set. Set now. Set now.
Oh, you're recording?
I can speak. I'm not. How you guys doing?
Shit, yeah.
None of that would make a difference.
So,
You have the GoPro.
huh?
If I had the GoPro, I have a condenser mic that goes with the GoPro. Record on that. I don't. Hey everyone, welcome to Tampa Tuesday again, episode 3. So we're on a roll on this one. This is my guest.
Hello.
Hi. And if you already know me a little bit, you know she's my wife. And she does all the behind-the-scenes work. If you've ever seen any of our videos in Model Home, or if you've ever seen videos of me where I'm not holding a camera, she's the one taking it. Or a lot of times if you see a pretty picture, she probably took it as well.
Or I did.
Yeah, that's true. And she's much more talented an artist than I am. I've just been around artists longer than she has. So I wanted to just give you guys a little heads up on what's happening this weekend. Obviously, it's December 23rd, so events are going to be a little scarce. 2 days before Christmas, more people are going to be worried about their last-minute shopping. So there's not as many events going on around town as there were last weekend or the weekend before.
Tomorrow's the 21st.
21st. Tomorrow's the 21st. This is a very special day. For other reasons.
I'm sorry, it's the 20th.
Tomorrow's the 20th?
Yes.
Oh.
Wait,
This
what
is Monday.
What is today?
If they're watching
It's
this
the
on
20th.
But if they're watching this on Tuesday when
It
they're
is the
supposed
20th.
to
It
be
will be
watching.
the 20th.
Okay, so then
But that is another special birthday. It's Don's birthday.
but they don't know that.
Well, hi, happy birthday, Don. If
Happy
you don't
birthday,
know
Don.
Happy birthday.
So events wise this weekend we have we actually do have a really cool event. There is the Fourth Friday in Tampa out by the Riverwalk. If you've never been to Fourth Friday, which actually I haven't been and I still won't be able to go because I actually won't be in town. But it is really cool. The city of Tampa throws a big shindig for the on the Riverwalk. They invite a bunch of vendors to come out, and they like pretty much turn the whole Riverwalk into this party fest. And they schedule all these events at local art type artsy places, like where you can go and be fancy for the day. And so the big there's a whole bunch of tours and museums that you can get into, but the ones that really jumped out to me were two. The Le Meridian, that hotel on I think it's not on Tampa Street, but it's the one that runs it runs parallel on the east side, it used to be the old federal courthouse downtown. And there's a tiny little bug flying around. There used to be the old federal courthouse downtown, and they converted it. When the courthouse shut down, they turned it into a hotel. And so they're doing a tour over there, and I've never actually been inside, but I've spoken to people that have been inside. They're doing they did a really, really good job on just renovating it. So if you've seen the photos, the mayor was out there. It's really cool. They're going to be opening it up to do tours there. And they actually have a really good restaurant in there. And so I would definitely suggest stopping by there, getting a quick bite, because that's also going to be, you're going to receive discounts if you get a wristband for the Fourth Friday. And any of the venues you'll be able to get wristbands at to get discounts at other places during that you'll be able to stop by. So it's really just like they're turning this whole thing into a party. They've been doing this all year. This is going to be the last one. They're not certain if they're going to redo this next year. Also, what's really cool is if you get a parking space, you can use the Downtowner app to get around in the areas. These little electric carts that they run up and down, and it's like pretty much an Uber system just for downtown. Really cool, and it's free. Free. Key is free. So my strategy, if I were going to First Friday, I'd park north of Kennedy, pay for 2 hours of parking because north of Kennedy is free after 6 p.m. Park north of Kennedy at 4 p.m. That's when everything starts setting up. So get there between 4 and 5. Park north of Kennedy, get the Downtowner app, and then schedule everything else that you want to go to. I would go to the Tampa Theater first because they're doing a free tour there. And they do charge for tours at the Tampa Theater, so there's going to be free refreshments. You get your wristband for the Fourth Friday. Then you go to the Tampa Theater, or at the Tampa Theater you get there, you get free refreshments, you get a free half-hour tour, and then you get to go to take the Downtowner app again, go from there, go to the La Meridian, do the tour there, maybe get a bite to eat at the restaurant they have in there. And then I would suggest going to taking the Downtowner app again over towards Curtis Hickson Park because they still have the Winter Wonderland thing set up.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
although disappointed that the last 2 times we went, I didn't see one person fall.
Yeah, they have ice skating there, so you might want to tell them. Yeah, you should watch people ice skate. It's kind of hilarious, especially Floridians. So. Anyway, that's really the big shindig of the weekend. You got Christmas Eve, you got Christmas Day after that, so I would absolutely recommend going to the, getting Friday out of your system because you're probably going to want to get away from your family before you're around them for 2 days. And that's really going to be it for this weekend. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas planned. We will be out of town, so next week is actually going to be, they don't know this yet, but I'm planning on shooting Tampa Tuesday in New Jersey. So that's going to be very interesting. See how that works out.
Shoot at
Zaxby's. It's my favorite coffee shop. It's a little town called Haddonfield. You are going to have to speak louder.
I will speak louder.
Speaking louder. Okay, so as I already said, this is my wife. She is my lovely help in everything I do. When we met about 10 years ago, she didn't like me, and
that is not true.
I changed her
mind. Don't
mind.
start this out with a lie.
You didn't even look at me. Maybe you did, and then you ignored me. So, anyway, but I changed her mind, and I convinced her to marry me, and then I convinced her to let me be an entrepreneur, and then I convinced her to become one. So we've been on this crazy journey the last few years. And
before that, you want to tell everybody where we are?
Oh, yeah. We're at the Blind Tiger. Cool little... Let's see if the autofocus is working. All right.
Mine's one with the lipstick.
Yeah. But we're at the Blind Tiger, and it's in Ybors. Beautiful Ybor City. Tell him what he's won, Bob. And this is a really cool little spot, and they actually partnered up with a coffee shop some of you guys know by the name of Zeal. They used to be based in Lutz, and they used to do a lot of coffee roasting. And it's my favorite roast in the entire city. And just in terms of flavor and taste, they put a lot of work into perfecting their craft, just like a lot of people do out here. Everybody tends to know the Buddy Brew name. However, I think that because Buddy Brew's so big, it also kind of sweeps the other guys that have better coffee, in my opinion. So that's why I like to go around a whole bunch of different coffee shops all the time and just let you guys know what's out there. Like I said, this is the Blind Tiger. The first time I ever came out here was last week, but I had the coffee that they serve here for quite some time. That's nothing new. And what would I say is really cool about this place that you're not going to get anywhere else? They actually have a co-work space next door that you can rent out, and they don't charge by the hour for this space. They charge by the person for the hour. So the more people you bring in, the more expensive it's going to be. However, if it's just you or just you and a partner, it's going to be really, really inexpensive. You essentially get this whole space that you can do whatever type of event you want to do. It's really cool. So,
and just this whole area in general, we're like right in the heart of Ybor, like historic Ybor.
Yes.
So up and down the street is right down this way is the Colombian restaurant that's been around for over 100 years,
yep.
I think. And
yeah, the Gans Mart, or Richard Gansman, whatever. There's a really important restaurateur. He opened his family opened the Columbia, and now he owns Eulalie as well. And he was the one that did Goody Goody, and he's hopefully, maybe, possibly got something in the works for the Colonnade. Best place to get gator bites, but unfortunately they closed. Many guys might remember the Colonnade as a restaurant in Bayshore that was there forever, and now they closed it, and I think they demolished it already. It's gone. It's completely gone, and they're going to build condos, which you guys know I'm in real estate. I can sell condos, but I did like the Colonnade a lot. I'm not really too happy about that arrangement, but it is what it is. Money talks at the end of the day, and
because it was it was a landmark.
Yeah.
I mean, when you thought Colonnade, when you thought of Tampa, you thought of the Colonnade.
Yeah, and you can drive down Bayshore. If I was giving somebody directions, I'd say, as soon as you pass the Colonnade, make a right, that's where you're going to park.
It's a landmark.
It's super easy to get to. The food was great. Always had fresh fish, like literally from the bay. You had a lot of local vendors that contributed to the restaurant. It was cool. But now it's going to be replaced by condos. I'm not saying the condos won't be cool, but
people need a place to live.
And I'll sell it to them. However, so I think I wanted to bring my wife on because nobody else would show up. No, I'm kidding.
This is the last resort.
we have a few guests lined up, but we had a gap between the next ones and this one, and I wanted to also give you guys a little insight into my life, not just so you can actually understand a little bit where I come from on why I do the things that I do and the specific way I do things I do. If you notice, I don't post pictures of me getting wasted and smashed and all over clubs on weekends and things like that, because I don't do that. I've never really lived that lifestyle. I've always been the kind of person that I'd rather go kayaking or hiking or something rather than going to a club on a Friday. That's just my personality. That's just the way that I live. So when you see pictures of me, in Mount Dora, Florida, or in Winter Park or something like that, and if you know those names, then you're familiar with the settings. If you see, those are the things that I like to do in my own rare spare time when I'm not working 12 hours a day. Fortunately, I found somebody that actually enjoys those things too. And, I know that I'm different. I know that I live a different lifestyle than most. And people ask me a lot, where are these places? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with my wife. So I
do have a name, by the way. I'm not just Gary's wife.
Is it woman?
No, it's he woman.
Yeah. Go ahead, write me a nasty email. Okay. She knows I'm not serious, so if you think I am, it's your fault. Anyway, so out of all those places, should I call you Aaron? I like that better.
Sure.
Okay. Of all those places, which one what's your favorite place that I've ever taken you to that's off the beaten path?
Probably Winter Park, and that's kind of become like a tradition almost to go there at least a couple times a year for us. There's a beautiful lake out there that one time we took kayaks out on the lake. I think that was New Year's Day, July 4th, excuse me, yeah, because I got sunburned. Yeah, beautiful, huge lake that you can, kayak around. There's a park right there where you can put the kayaks in, and that the whole neighborhood surrounding that lake is absolutely beautiful. So we love driving around there and looking at all the big houses, and then right outside of that neighborhood is the actual Winter Park town, which runs right next to the Amtrak track, and there's a stop there where the train stops, and it's just this beautiful, quaint little town. Well, it's not really little, I would say, but there's lots of individual shops, small businesses, but there's also some that are a little more chain places. Like there's a Panera, there's a Pottery Barn, there's a Starbucks, of course, because God forbid you don't have a place without a Starbucks.
Right.
And we love going there at Christmas. They decorate the whole town. Tons of lights over the street and all through the trees. And I think they had at least 4 or 5 huge Christmas trees that are all decorated. And
you like Christmas trees?
Yes, we do. So that's just kind of been a tradition for us. I think that's my favorite place to go.
To hang out with me? Yeah.
But I suggest going when it's cooler outside, because it is
outdoors. And if it's 90 degrees and you gotta walk, there's a lot of walking to do in Winter Park. And if you imagine, if you're familiar with Ybor City during the daytime, and if you're familiar with St. Simon's Circle and downtown St. Petersburg, imagine putting all 3 of those together in a 1.5 mile long strip. And it's really, really cool. That's how it is. That's over towards the Orlando area.
And that is a place that you could spend all day there if you wanted, but you really
nobody
don't.
really has the energy for that. Like,
yeah.
It really, I mean, just walking up and down the street, if you're taking your time, it's going to take you 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. And then you're going to want to eat.
For lunch.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and there are tons of restaurants there, and I think there's probably every type of cuisine there. I mean, they have American, they've got Turkish, they've got Thai, they've got French, all kinds of different things, and a lot of them have outdoor seating. So again, if it's nice and cool outside, that's a great place to go, because there's tons of outdoor seating.
Exactly. So you can see we're not really beach people.
No.
This beautiful tan. So we like to do things that are a little different, and that's also kind of why we love living in Tampa. Go ahead and tell your Tampa story. How'd you end up in Tampa?
Oh, how did I end up in Tampa?
Yeah.
Well, I was born at St. Joe's Women's Hospital in 1986, so that's how I ended up in Tampa.
So you've literally always
lived here my entire life.
Yes. And how many cool things did you know about in Tampa before you met me?
Hardly anything.
Exactly.
I mean, my 3 schools, elementary, middle, and high school, were in maybe a 3-mile radius from each other. I used to live in Forest Hills, which is right next to the Carrollwood area. We hardly ever came downtown, hardly ever came to Ybor, unless it was some kind of school trip, which I can't even remember. But no, there's so many things that, unless you count when I came down here for college for a semester. But I didn't come, too much farther into Ybor than the school. So no, I hardly knew anything about my own town before he started taking me different places.
And that's one of the biggest reasons that I love doing this, because there is a lot to do in Tampa. And I can't tell you even how many of my close friends, they say, I'm bored, I got nothing to do. And then I say, come hang out with me. And the next thing they're saying is like, I had no idea this was here. Like, I hear that every single time. And these are some of the great places. And that's why I love filming this in these places. Actually, probably the next place I want to film is going to be at the Sail Pavilion downtown. I might even film that at night. I don't know yet.
That would be cool.
We'll find out. But there's so many cool things to do in this city. You just got to know where to look. And I've spent the last few years looking and finding them and sharing them. And now I get to share them thanks to the internet and this beautiful thing that we call our smartphones for dumb people. it's very easy to share these things. It's very easy to share these places. If you have any suggestions, let me know what you want to see. Last thing I do want to talk about is how do people find you if they want to get in touch with you? Well, actually, we got to give people a reason to get in touch with you. I don't want creepers getting in touch with me. No creepers. She's taken. However, well, like I said before, what's really cool is kind of our journey, our story. We have been, when we got married, we were both working 9 to 5s, and then now we're both self-employed. So that journey has been insane so far, to say the least. Man, I've never been more uncomfortable in these last few years than ever in my life, but I still wouldn't trade it for anything. Except like $2 million. Like maybe I'd trade it for a couple $1 million. But because we are very different in terms of the environments we grew up in, and just our backgrounds in terms of our experiences, and in terms of really just what we went through growing up, and that shaped a lot of our core beliefs. We definitely line up the same. Absolutely, we always have the same values to fall back on, so that if and when we do have disagreements, we're able to come back to the foundation, to the root that we always. And that's something I recommend for everyone. Like, just have something solid that you can both agree this is true. So that way, when you have those disagreements, you have something to fall back on that's bigger than yourself. So,
and we're not talking about like 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4.
Yeah, that's not going to solve your arguments.
Real issues.
Like what's right and wrong.
Yeah, what's real life, and what is it that you really believe in? Because if that is not in agreement, if you're not in agreement with your spouse about those things, then
and that's helped us a lot. I think another thing that really helped us a lot was that we always believed that having a strong marriage is more important than getting what you want. One of the things I always say is people don't want a good marriage. They want a marriage that's good for them. And when you get outside of that, it becomes a lot easier to do the right thing for a lot of things. And that has always been our base. So when I became self-employed and got into real estate, and then maybe a year later, she followed me down that track. We still had. It doesn't feel like we really changed too much because we always had that same foundation.
Yeah.
In a sense. Yeah. But her environment was a lot different than my environment. I grew up in an environment that entrepreneurship was kind of a standard, and she grew up in an environment where, both of her parents worked a 9 to 5, and maybe you can kind of go into like that transition, because I know there are a lot of people that are always thinking about, well, how do I get a second stream of income? How do I develop a second revenue? I want to start this thing, but I don't know how. What are some mindsets that you need to be comfortable with before you go forward in that?
I think you just have to, number one, you have to be confident in what you're doing. I read a quote to him earlier. Now I can't even remember what it said, but
she read a quote and it was good, but we can't remember it.
It said something like, confidence isn't the lack of fear, it's the certainty. That wasn't even close.
Oh, whatever.
But it was something about like you're confident, regardless of what people think. Like that's not what makes you. It has nothing to do what people think of you, and regardless of whether or not people think it's a good idea, and that's not to say that you shouldn't listen to people that have wisdom and that have been in the experience that you're trying to get into, and obviously can help you. It's not like you should completely blow those people off. But I think more along the lines of being negative and listening to those negative voices.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that when you come from an environment where you all you've known is a 9 to 5, practicality can kind of hurt you in a sense.
And you know, my whole life, I'm a much more practical-minded person. Like, if it doesn't make sense on paper, then I'm not confident in doing it at all. And that, you know, growing up, both my parents, you know, worked, you know, regular 9-to-5 jobs, and when they were at work, they were at work, and when they were at home, they were at home, you know. And so moving into a situation where everything revolves around your business, from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to sleep, and you're probably even dreaming about your next business, or, you know, other things that you can do to improve your business. That was so new to me. And you know, I didn't start out our marriage like that. I did have a regular 9-to-5 job. I had been in the car business for, you know, in one aspect or another besides sales, for 11 years or something like that. Or no, maybe not that long, like almost 10 years. But still, you know, just that mindset of you go to work, you come home, and you're at home, and you don't have to think about work until you go back to work the next day.
Right.
And, you know, and you could put in for vacation, and you could take a sick day. You know, there's no sick days in having your own business, and especially when you know, you are the business. Like, there's no one else that can just come in and take over for you and do your job, you know, like you can.
Right.
So it definitely took a huge change in mindset for me to go from, you know, the kind of being on a schedule to, you know, whenever something needs to happen, it's got to get done.
Right.
You know, there is no schedule. It just, there's work that
if
has
it's
to
not
be done.
It's not done until it's done.
Yeah, it's not, like I said, there's not just someone that's going to come in and put it together for you. If there's work to be done, it's got to be done, and it's got to be done by you. So I think just the biggest thing for me was just growing in confidence, and obviously having him to help, you know, lift me up, and you know, just speak, you know, positivity over the things that I was doing, and helping me learn how to do things, and encouraging me. And, you know, you definitely have to have someone with you, you know, by your side, helping you. So that you can help them too. I mean, it really is a partnership. It has to be. Even though, you know, technically he is my boss, you know,
I can't treat her like an employee.
Right, because that's just not going to work. Because I'm a woman.
Because my marriage is more important than
and I'm his wife first.
Yeah,
I'm a wife first. So
I think that parallels to more like a mentorship game as well. You know, if you're currently in a 9-to-5 and you're thinking about, you know, if you're in a position like most people are, I just need to make more money. You know, I need to, because of whether bills, or because you got kids that are going to school, or because for whatever reason, you know, whenever you're in that position and you're saying, you know, how are all these other people doing it? How, you know, when it seems so easy, and it's really not. It's a science.
Well, you don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes.
You never see everything that goes on behind the scenes, and people rarely tell you their secrets in terms of, you know, there really is no secret other than work, you know, and that's usually what you don't see behind the scenes. But with everyone that I know, there's always a few things that they figured out that they're able to either do better than everybody else, or they've just figured it out before anyone else. And those are the things you're never going to hear about. And those are the things you kind of have to figure out on your own. And once you do, you know, you begin to make money. And, you know, with you know, just the idea of making another source of income, it really, a lot of it is just starting. Once you start, you're able to build momentum. You get around people that want you to win, want you to succeed. That's huge. If you don't have people around you that want you to succeed, you know, and I do understand that not your family and your friends, not all of them are going to understand. You don't want to give them up. And I'm not telling you to cut relationships, build relationships is what I'm saying. But really, at the end of the day, just start. If you're at that place where you're like, I have this idea, or I want to create a second stream of income, I'm just not sure how I'm going to do that, is really just start figuring it out. start getting around people that know what that looks like, and you'll be much better prepared to succeed than anyone else. Or you'll be much better prepared to succeed than you were before. So, you found that cool?
Yes. This is the quote about confidence. It says, confidence is not, they will like me. Confidence is, I'll be fine if they don't.
Screenshot. Will it focus? There we go. You see it now.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you, Pinterest.
Yeah, thanks, Pinterest, the quote capital. So, speaking of now, when she started working with me, it was more just me telling her what to do, and teaching her
Give me a list.
Yeah, teaching her how to do it. You always have to be respectful when you work with someone else, that you use your strengths respectively and use their strengths respectively. Respective. Yeah, respective.
Okay.
Yeah, your strengths. See, I used the correct vocabulary. I just got over 1,000 points on the SAT, so I know what I'm talking about. So use your strengths. Use the strengths of the people around you. I'm not going to tell her to do something that I know I'm good at. I'm going to give her as much as I can that she's going to be better at than me. That her skill sets work better for her. So that's kind of driven her to find a way to monetize her strengths. One of them being crochet. So why don't you tell people about that? It's interesting. That's how I crochet.
Crochet, I don't even know how long that art form has been around, but a long, long time. But I've been around it my whole life. My mom has been crocheting probably since she was really little, but I never learned how. And she's right-handed, I'm left-handed, so it would have been before YouTube, and it would have been, more difficult for me to learn how to do it, being so different. So anyway, a couple years ago, and remember, I still have no idea how to crochet, but I had always wanted to, and I was, hoping that an opportunity would come that I could learn. And so a couple years ago, our church was invited to participate in kind of a, volunteer opportunity, thank you, to crochet, knit, sew, make in any way winter headbands or winter ear warmers for this huge women's conference in a church all the way in Russia. And you know how cold the winters in Russia are. So I was super excited because I was like, this is it. It's finally my time. And so I don't know what.
And I lost her for about 3 months.
Oh my gosh. I probably made, all in all, close to 300 ear warmers. And granted, it was a super easy pattern, and I think one took me maybe half an hour. But I was totally new. I had no idea. So I asked my friend who was going to be doing them too, who's right-handed. I asked her if she could help me learn. And unfortunately, she sort of showed me how to do it wrong. And so I was
she's not watching this.
I was showing my mom, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And so she helped me fix my mistake. So finally, I got my mom to help me learn how to crochet. But what we did is we ended up facing each other, and I would mirror what she was doing. And
so how did you find a way to monetize that?
Well, I'm just
you're getting that?
backstory.
Oh, okay.
And so anyway, so you would think that I would have never wanted to have crocheted anymore after doing all of these ear warmers, but I was hooked. I was really, really liking it, and I wanted to start learning how to do more. So I would spend hours watching on YouTube different tutorials and how to make blankets, how to make hats. And hats is what really, really got me. I really enjoy doing that. Baby hats, kids hats, men's, women's hats, winter hats, slouchy beanie hats, all those different kind of things. So like a week ago, I saw this trend that was going on in crochet pages on Instagram, and I started seeing them all over Pinterest and even on Facebook, of these new type of beanies that have a hole in the top for your bun or your ponytail to stick out of. And they have a couple different names. Why can't I think of it? Messy bun beanies or messy bun hats, ponytail beanies, whatever. So I thought, you know what, this might be the perfect opportunity to, okay, this is something that I know I can make. There's already patterns out there to learn how to make one. And if I could kind of ride the wave of this trend while it's still trending, I might be able to, you know, put it out there and see is interested in having me make one for them. And so I just started learning how. I didn't use a pattern or anything. I just kind of whipped one up myself and developed a pattern of my own creation. And he suggested that I kind of chronicle the story on social media of me learning how to make this and then the finished product. And then I put it out there to, you know, if anyone is interested in purchasing one, you know, direct message me or Facebook message me, and I'll let you know all the details. And within less than a day, I had 6 people contact me asking me if I could make one for them. And so I thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Which product-wise, that's a couple $100.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just took the time to understand something you were already interested in,
mm-hmm.
and then the opportunity came around and you were able to monetize that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean when I say just start, because
mm-hmm.
that wasn't your intention,
mm-hmm.
you know, a couple years ago, last year, like between a year and a half ago,
mm-hmm.
when you started saying, you didn't start by saying, oh, I want to figure out a way to make a crap ton of money on, crochet.
I just wanted to do it because I like doing it.
Exactly. And then suddenly the opportunity presented itself and you just took a jump,
mm-hmm.
took a leap. You know, if somebody would have told you, you know, you're going to push about $200 worth of product just by posting a picture, would you believe them?
No.
Exactly. And that's why, and you know what? There was always the risk that nobody would have been interested.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you have to be willing to take those risks.
And I just had this feeling that I started seeing these specific type of beanies pop up, and I mean, personally, I don't like them. Or I should say, when I first saw them, I was like, oh, what is that? but now, you know, now that I've actually worn one myself, I actually like them. But those people that messaged me, I seriously doubt that they had ever seen one. So their first impression of it is probably the reason why they're so popular now, because they see it and at first glance they think it's so cute and they have to have one.
Right, exactly. And really it's just opportunity, man. And it's, you know, all those things you didn't line those things up 2 years ago and say, well, you know, in 2 years this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Is you just try. And a lot of things that you try, especially when you're trying to make your own money, they don't work. But every once in a while you hit a home run, and then you hit another home run, you hit another home run, and you keep trying. And especially if you're in that position that you're, bumblebee. Especially if you're in that position that you're in a 9-to-5 and you want to start working your way out, there are, believe it or not, practical ways to do that. There are practical ways to take risk, but it's still risk. And understanding you're never going to be comfortable with it just comes with the territory.
That was another thing I was going to say at the very beginning about confidence and also comfort and that it's not going to be comfortable a lot of the time. It's not going to be comfortable emotionally. It's not going to be comfortable financially sometimes. There's been uncomfortableness sometimes in our relationship, and you know, sometimes it's not fun, but you know, you push through and that confidence kind of overcomes your lack of comfort, and just make it happen.
Yeah. So speaking of making it happen, next week we're going to find a way to make Tampa Tuesday happen, even though we won't be in Tampa. So stay tuned.
Hashtag Tampa Tuesday.
Yeah, hashtag Tampa Tuesday. And signing off for episode 3, Gary James, beautiful wife. Love you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Love
people.
You.